Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dychronic, host here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Destiny 2 weekly reset for March 16, 2021. So firstly, there is an update that did release today. I actually don't know what it is because a lot of the big updates they talked about in the recent TWAB is actually coming next week. That's going to be the stasis nerfs and all that whatnot. This week, I imagine they just fixed a few things that needed to be fixed. Yeah, so basically it's this. It's this update. So if you want to know, here it is. There you go. Yes, there is. Okay. All right, so correction, there is a Proving 6, and I guess it will continue every single week until the end. But on top of that, if you look at the calendar, we actually have something major going on next week on March 23rd. A Proving Ground Strike opens, and Iron Banner as well. As far as the weekly challenges for this week, other than obviously the Proving 6 and the bow kills, you have to defeat combatants with SMGs in the battlegrounds. In the Nightfall, you need to get sniper, submachine gun, rocket kills, or bows. Defeating elite Cabal bosses anywhere in the system. Ooh, whoa. Elite or Cabal boss. Okay. Kill Fallen, and achieving one of the ornaments for the Salvo grenade launcher, and completing one Grand Master. Keeping in mind this does say 4 times XP, so completing a Grand Master is something that is incredibly difficult. If you've never done a Grand Master and you think you're ready because you've completed Masters, I would highly recommend going and trying it because it is much, much harder. That being said, just follow a guide and get to the right power and the right loadouts and the right setup of people, and you'll have a decent chance. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Moving on with the weekly reset, first and foremost, I guess there is technically something going on this week, as this is going to be the first week we have Grandmaster Nightfall. So the Grandmaster Nightfalls require you to be at least 1325 power, and it will also keep you at 1325 power, as well as the absolute incredible slew of all these other modifiers, on top of all the other ones that are all just ridiculous and crazy. I'm just happy they don't allow attrition in the Grandmasters anymore, because that would be too much. Suffice it to say, Grandmasters are very hard, but if you do complete a Grandmaster, you actually have a pretty good chance of getting the Adept weapon. This week, the Adept weapon for Nightfalls is going to be the Swarm. I believe it's the Swarm, because last week was the Palindrome, so if you want to get an Adept Swarm, it will be available this week, and the following week we'll obviously have Shadow Price, and then following that we have Palindrome, if it does follow the same system. And obviously, the Nightfall this week is going to be the Devil's Lair, and that's true for the regular Nightfall as well. As far as getting 100k on it, Legend will definitely get you 100k, however, it actually might be possible on the 1270 Hero, because when I was playing it, there were a lot of enemies, a very dense amount of enemies in small areas, so maybe possible as Hero, but I imagine most people can do Legend these days. The heroic modifier for this week will be Solar Singe. The rotating Crucible playlist is going to be Clash. Moving on to Europa, first and foremost for the Empire Hunt, we have the Technocrat. I don't know where the simulation is. I should have it unlocked on this character, but if last week was the one with the boxes, I guess this week is going to be the one where you defend, or the one that you run through and just escape the cold. I don't know where it is, though. For the Deepstone Crypt Raid Challenge, we have Copies of Copies. Going to be taking place in the second encounter of the raid. It's going to be the one with A-Track. Basically, don't eject any of the debuffs out the airlock, and so you have to do this in 1.5 phases. Obviously, if you have the Lament and decent strategy, you can easily do 3-3 and still get it in one phase. For the moon stuff, first and foremost for the Nightmare hunts, we have things like Zydron, Tanix, and Dominus Gall. Zydron definitely going to be the easiest one, as you can just hide from him up in the rafters. Look up a guide if you don't know what I'm talking about. And finally, for the Garden of Salvation raid, we have 0 to 100. Going to be taking place in the boss encounter of the raid, and in this encounter, you have to dunk all 30 motes at a single relay anytime you dunk motes at that relay. You can do each relay separately, but all 30 motes have to be pretty much back-to-back as soon as you dump the motes on it. This one is kind of hard, and most people use a glitch. Again, look up a guide online. Moving on to Eververse's inventory, showing off her Bright Dust purchases, as well as a perusal of something. What's this one look like? Ah, that's not even that great. Showing off some Bright Dust and some perusal of some stuff you may be interested in. First and foremost, we have the Prospector Ornament. I do like this one, but I do like the Portal one better. We have the Halicon Shell. This is not a red dot sight or a computer. This is actually a ghost shell, which looks pretty much adorable. We have the Whip Crap, kind of a Whip Crap. Yeah, you know what? We're going to stick with that. We have Descending Chrome, which actually looks decent on certain weapons and armor, and I'm holding Witherhort, so you can't even tell. And there we go. Obviously, this one is very green. But on the Titan armors, I really like it because it covers pretty much the entire surface in this rusted effect, and it's very interesting. Although I've never used it, I think it's interesting. Take that with a grain of salt. Moving on to the next section, we have Sour Taste, where you basically just hold this right here like a cat, and as soon as you stop the emote, oh yeah, just knock it right over, which is actually a fun emote, and I think they should do more stuff where you have more control over them. You got the flailing dance, you've got this this ship in case you wanted this ship, you've got the leg ornament for whatever class you're currently on. Wow, that looks really nice. Wow, it moves. I didn't even realize that the foot moves, the leg moves. Whatever class you're currently on, since I'm on my Warlock, I see the Warlock one, you're gonna have to go on whatever class you want it for, if you want it. I might move over to my Titan just to get that. We also have that's the one where you're pointing, it makes sense. You have the ornament for the hard light, which actually looks really cool. I do have a lot of ornaments, so I'm not the biggest fan. You got some ghost projections, some transmit effects. Most of these should be pretty straightforward. You have the Nectar Dynamo, which is a pretty cool looking shader. It's like some dark purple right here with some black, white, and reds. And again, this colors very differently on the Titan, so you may want to experiment with your classes, but it is definitely something that I've been wanting for a while, but I don't have enough space for. I don't know, man. I feel like Bungie could take maybe 10 minutes and just make a slider, and I don't have to go through each and every one of these individually, but maybe I'm crazy. I mean, I'm not saying, it's just, you know, it's been like 6 years, so I'm just saying, you know, make a slider. Even Capcom games have sliders, and they're infamous for having difficulty and clunkiness in their AI or the UI. Outside of that, the other ones are up to you. I really do like Desert of Gold on different weapons, and honestly, these armors as well. And then obviously Suros Modular Shine looks good on a lot of things and has been good since the game came out. So if you don't have either one of these, I would highly recommend them. The Byzantium is a bit odd, but so am I. Get it while it lasts. I love when swords come out on your back. No other weapon does that. And finally, for Hawthorne's inventory, showing off her weekly raid challenge for the Last Wish raid, today we have Witch. Going to be taking place in the second encounter during the Shirochi encounter. Basically, do not get hit by her regular ball attacks. You can be bumped and pushed, don't get hit by her ball attack, which has some weird AoE interactions. Sometimes you won't even be hit and it will count. And finally, something I thought I'd add to the weekly reset is going to be taking a look at the different rewards from the helm. Obviously, I have to travel to the helm, so it might take me a little bit more time to get these videos out, but I did want to show the different mods. Obviously, there are 6 mods, and they rotate in a series of 3 different weeks. So the mods that we have today is going to be Elemental Armaments and Font of Might. Personally, I find the Font of Wisdom to be the strongest, so obviously that's the one I'm going to recommend whenever that shows up. And that's it. That's going to be the end of the video. Let me know in the comments down below if any questions, concerns, or something that I've missed. Also, of course, come check out my live streams that I have right after these videos and on screen right now. I'm going to be pushing the Tuesday one back to 1 p.m. because of the daylight savings change in Destiny 2, but for the most part, that should be pretty accurate. Oftentimes, I have open lobbies for raids, for pinnacles, for different missions. If you wanted to help with some stuff, just join us, and oftentimes we'll have space for you. And of course, big shout out to my patrons on Patreon. Specifically, big shout out to Many Buju, Mom, Dad, Charles Williams, Joe Smith, Monday, Natalie Halpin, Speed Bachnovich, Justin Rare, Raymond Showman, Yuta Panther, Cole Sherman, Casey Reagan. How did I even do that first try? And I'll see you guys on the next one. It was pretty much perfect. Close enough.